Hey guys, we are coming at you from Texas in the winter storm of 2021. And so there were some things that we did right. We had lots of animal food stored up, so we did that right. And we had lots of people food. We had a big pot of yummy chicken soup that we could easily warm up if we needed to, if we lost power. It was already made. We had lots of warm blankets and warm clothes and sleeping bags all washed and ready. And we had lots of battery powered lights and like candles and a kerosene lamp, so we would have been lit up had we lost power. But there were some lessons.
Lots of our neighbors, a lot of the community did lose power for a long period of time, and God blessed us, and we were able to help others that were not as fortunate as we were as far as keeping power and keeping water. But it does help to be prepared, and even prepared to help your neighbors out.
But we did learn some lessons from the winter storm of 2021.
Yes.
And so we're going to tell you the 5 things that we learned in this winter storm. All right, you guys, the number 1 thing I learned was never hatch chicks in January. So I know I did it because I was trying to hatch chicks from my rooster. If some of you didn't know, my rooster got killed by a bobcat, so I was trying to hatch some fertilized chicks of his while they were still viable. So that's the reason I did it. But yeah, never a good idea to have chicks that you have to keep warm in January. It's a long time to spring, even in Texas. First lesson learned. We had a heat lamp on the chicks because they really haven't fully feathered out yet. I'm not a huge fan of heat lamps because they cause fires, but we did this in this emergency. We had a plan to bring them in the house if we lost power, but thankfully everything turned out okay and they did just fine.
So as a city boy growing up in Texas, I never remember it getting this cold, but I've always known that having a good supply of water has been real good. I just didn't know that water in a 50-gallon drum could freeze solid. So we have 150 gallons of ice, solid blocks of ice. So one thing we have to look for next time is a way to not let these freeze, but have a good source of water when the water gets shut off. Because we had a water main break and our water got brown. Luckily, a few days ago when we saw this happening, we got some water and put it in jugs and just kept it so that we could drink it and boil it and have water to drink. But I've never seen anything like this before. I didn't think it was possible that a 50-gallon drum full of water could freeze solid. So that's something we'll have to think about and be better prepared for next time.
The sun's out, yay! Number 3 lesson that we learned from this winter storm is you might have a supply of wood, but it needs to be dry wood. That's best. So we will probably, at the beginning of winter next year, order like a half quart of wood, build someplace to keep it dry and stored dry so that we will have it. But that's lesson number 3, dry wood. A good amount of dry wood, which we never thought we would need in Texas. We had a little bit of dry wood, but not enough for days without power. So, and the other thing kind of goes along with this is to make sure your fireplace is maintained, because in Texas it's pretty low on the priority list and we can get birds nesting in it and we don't have a cap on it. So definitely a good idea to maintain the fireplace during the year while it's warm. Okay.
Me? Yeah. So the 4th thing that we learned we live in a community and we are stronger together. So if I have power and you don't, I can help you. You can come here for warmth. If you have water and I don't, then we can share water, we can share meals, we can share time, we can just share the good times, we can share the rough times together. And so I believe we're all stronger when we're purposely part of a community. And I believe that God made us all relational and wants us to love each other, to love our neighbor, as he says over and over, to love your neighbor as you do yourself. Mm-hmm. And in these times, when we're all tried and we're losing our patience, it's really important to remember that we are stronger together. Mm-hmm. Even if we're just struggling together, we can make a difference.
Yeah, and the time to make that, though, is not during a crisis. The time to make that is before a crisis.
Yes.
So it takes that intentional effort to keep in touch with people, to have each other's information, even though, or in touch with their church, as we met some new people that came over because their power was out through our church. So yeah, just during a crisis isn't the time to make that community.
Yes,
right?
But just being open to the fact that
True.
God will bring new people into your path, and to be open
True.
to helping strangers out too, which is what we had done through just a fortunate text message through church. We were able to meet a fantastic couple. They came and stayed with us for a night because they had lost power and it was 43 degrees in their house. So
yeah, that was
and
fun.
it was wonderful, and we had a good time. We played games, we shared meals. So it was a total blessing from God.
Absolutely.
And caring for them kind of kept our focus off of what we were dealing with, as far as the weather and the icy roads and things like
and the
that.
animals.
And the animals, yes, struggling with animals. It was so. When you give to others, it does help take the focus off of yourself.
True.
And the miseries that you feel like you're struggling with. And always remember, no matter how bad that we have it, someone has it worse, and we can help, no matter where we are in this life.
Yeah. Okay, the fifth lesson that I already knew this, but it just brought it to my attention, is that I live with the funniest man in the world.
You do?
Yes.
Have I met him?
Yes, you. He just has a spiritual gift of humor, and the more tense things get, the more humor he brings to the situation.
That is not true.
So he's just kept us laughing and lighthearted, and yeah, I just really appreciate that about you.
Good. I love you. It is my spiritual gift to make silly comments about serious things. Sometimes, most times appropriately, but sometimes not. But it keeps me guessing, and her too.
Absolutely. It keeps me on my toes.
When we were out romping in the snow, we saw something so sad. Bees, dead bees, and a lot of them. Our bees have so much going against them right now that this was really hard for me to see. It reminded me that when things warm up, I need to check my hives right away and feed them. A bee colony under these conditions can starve and die out in just a few short weeks before spring comes. So check your bees if you have them. Feed them either pollen patties or syrup so that they can make it through this winter and on into spring when things start to bloom. Lots and lots of bunny tracks. Here's the community garden where I got my start, where it all began. And the snow is replaced by robins. Spring is coming, you guys. Hang on.